Assalamu alaikum, my name is Naba Khan.
And my name is Medea Fatma, and we're both coming from California.
The topic of our presentation today is Muslim youth identity crisis.
The outline of our presentation consists of identity crisis, the inferiority complex, peer pressure, and identity defined.
The aim of our presentation is to have our identity defined, and whatever we're all youth coming from America, and we need to know that just because we live in America doesn't mean we need to change our identity as Muslims.
We live in a society where sometimes all there is to hear is hate due to religion, culture, family, color, and etc. I remember one particular day. I was scrolling through Facebook with my dad. We came across a picture of a girl wearing hijab for the very first time. We instantly gravitated towards her post. But as we were going through the comments, we came across this one comment that made me sick to my stomach. It said, "Take that headscarf off, you terrorist, and go back to where you came from." Why are we facing so much intolerance, where all the religion talks about is love, peace, humanity, kindness? Why are Muslim youth facing identity crisis? Are we really different? One planet, 7 billion people, 1.9 billion or 24.4% of the world's population are Muslim, and half of that population belongs to Muslim youth facing identity crisis. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Naba Khan.
And my name is Medea Fatma, and we're both 13 years old coming from the Bay Area. The outline of our presentation today consists of identity crisis, the inferiority complex, peer pressure, and identity defined. America is the land of the free and the home of the brave. It's all about diversity, freedom of expression, and religion. Sometimes I talk to myself and wonder, isn't America the land of the immigrants, where we are proud to be the salad bowl and not a melting pot? Would I rather be in a country where we have no say and women are being oppressed?
The issues with identity have such a powerful effect on making Muslim youth feel trapped. Identity crisis forces us to distinguish between levels of Muslimness by measuring how Muslim we seem to look. Our youth constantly have to prove their Americanness or their Muslimness, and that's exhausting. They often question themselves with the following: what category do I belong in? Who do I belong to? How should I dress, or how should I talk? The list goes on and on forever. I'm sure some of us have flew in to attend this conference, and I am sure some of us have faced some of the discrimination and harassment at the airports. Yes, my family and I have to go through extra screening, extra searching, while others can just feel free to go without any. This makes me wonder, and I question, am I Muslim or American? It makes me feel like I don't really belong here.
Muslim American youth are in a vulnerable position. Some of the factors of identity issues are age group, surroundings, and technology and media. In fact, a study conducted from San Francisco State University, conducted from children ages 5 through 9, showed that 1 in 3 children did not want to show that they were Muslim. 1 in 2 children were confused on whether they were Muslim or American. And 1 in 6 children pretended not to be Muslim. Surroundings like city side, countryside, and ghetto side have a major impact on youth in changing their identity. Youth usually try to follow the crowd or try to be in the crowd, neglecting and refusing their own religion, culture, faith, etc.
In this 21st century, a major factor influencing Muslim youth identity is social media and technology. So, by show of hands, how many of you do not use at least one social media app shown up on the slide? Now, take a look around you. Yeah, as expected. There's a narrative that goes on about hate. It perpetuated from place to place, from people to people, and it perpetuated in a very fast manner. Now, how did this happen? Well, the answer is right in front of you. Well, at least for the people who have iPhones inside or outside their pocket. If you think about it, it all started with Apple. In 2009, Apple sold more than 1.5 billion iPhones. Now there are 3.3 billion smartphone users in the world. This equals to 42% of the world's population. There is 2.6 billion population on social media. There is 167.4 million on YouTube, 2.6 billion on Facebook, 1 billion on Instagram, 1.5 million on WhatsApp, 26 million on Twitter, and 71% of these social media accounts belong to the youth. Given that Facebook owns Instagram and WhatsApp, its net is spread to 5 billion users. I bring this up because of the brilliance of smart media, we call it, has played a disastrous role on our Muslim youth identity. The concern is not that there is fake media, it's how the fake media is being spread and making into vast propagation and making us become the fake media. I quote from Sacha Baron Cohen on the propaganda of hate online. Democracy depends on shared truths, which in retreats, and autocracy depends on shared lies on the march.
Hate crimes are surging, so are murderous attacks on religious and ethnic minorities. All this hate and violence is being facilitated by a handful of internet companies that amount to the greatest propaganda machine in history. Let's think about it. YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, they all have billions of people. The algorithm these platforms depend on deliberately amplify the type of content to keep users engaged. Rampant Islamophobia is in the media all the time. Some of the reasons why Muslim youth change their identity is because of their bad experiences at home, at the mosque, and with other Muslims. Muslim youth has the desire to be accepted by others at school and at work. Society influences on its norms, not being in line with norms of Islam. Our research conducted by Pew Research Center, a new survey of U.S. Muslims, asked Muslims if they thought Islam or being Muslim affected them for pursuing their dreams. 16 out of 30 said yes. If youth are not confident in their faith or religion, they'll either not want to contribute in society or they will find motivation somewhere else. Youth feel like they have to fight both the prejudice of people who hate Islam and the restrictions of Islam itself. They're stuck between two identities and they do not know how to reconcile.
Our identity, or the way we perceive ourselves, can be shaped and expressed as everything we do or what we have experienced. Inferiority complex brings low iman, lack of understanding, little or no knowledge, weak personality, or no sense of belonging. Our youth want to believe negative impressions about their religion so they don't feel guilty abandoning it. So inferiority complex and some of the aspects of when our youth feel inferior are language, dress, culture, religion, family, and color. One of the most famous examples of one who was a victim of inferiority complex, yet was an outstanding companion of the Holy Prophet of Islam, was Hazrat Bilal ibn Rabah. His life shows one man's unwavering conviction into oneness in God, also known as Tawheed. This shows that the oppressed can be victorious over their oppressors. This is an essential lesson to learn because we should know that the color of our skin should not affect our identity. In fact, Allah says in Surah Hujurat, verse 15, إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا بِاللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ ثُمَّ لَمْ يَرْتَابُوا. And only those are the believers who have believed in Allah, His Messenger, and afterwards doubt not.
Peer pressure is influence on people by peers. The effect of peer pressure can affect your attitude, behavior, and values. Peer pressure will give you lack of options and fear of rejection. Many youth end up being the product of entertainment to their friends. So, how do you get out of peer pressure? You get out of peer pressure by knowing that you're not the only one.
The effects of losing identity can result into unhappiness, blindness, loss of focus in life, and fights with family or friends. Many youth want to believe negative impressions about their religion, so they don't feel guilty abandoning it. So, what's the solution? What can we do? We need to make our identity defined. Our Muslim youth need to feel empowered by Islam. Allah says in Surah Ma'idah, verse 3, اليوم أكملت لكم دينكم وأتممت عليكم نعمتي ورضيت لكم الإسلام الدين. This day I have perfected your religion for you, completed my favor upon you, and chosen Islam for you as your religion.
Identity crisis among Muslims can be solved by knowing the true meaning of identity. Be conformed. Be the pole, not the flag, which blows the direction of the wind. Never compromise your faith, duties, and obligations for anyone, and pick your friends and crowd wisely. The solution to identity crisis is to have a strong community and a supportive family that will either help you with support or guidance, either by youth participating in discussions or one-on-one counseling. A strong sisterhood and brotherhood will help youth set beliefs and guidance.
Lastly, Allah says in the Quran, وَرِضْوَانَ مِنَ اللَّهِ أَكْبَارُ ذَلِكَ هُوَ الْفَوْزُ الْعَظِيمُ. The greatest bliss is the God pleasure of Allah. That is the supreme success. We can say this is all about standing up for our religion, which is Islam. There are so many people in Islamic history who have stood up for our religion. Imam Hussein, who sacrificed his life for Islam. Sayyidah Zainab, who gave her powerful sermons in the court of Yazid against the oppressors to save Islam. I make dua for our youth that we all won't be affected by the crowd and we will all join the army of Imam Mahdi. Thank you.
Salawat.